It is called, it is the place where Bhagwan Kapil manifested himself. His incarnation was manifested here, and his father is Kardam Muni, who is the son of Brahmaji. Brahmaji is the firstborn, and he created Kardam Muni. And Kardam Muni married Devhuti. Devhuti is the daughter of Bhagwan Manu. Manu is our forefather. And Bhagwan came. Kardam Muni was always praying, and Bhagwan manifested to him in his heart, and he said, I will come as your son. And I already told you, Bhagwan liked Kardam Muni and Devhuti so much that he chose them as parents. So Kardam Muni, eventually Devhuti, how did she come to know about Kardam Muni? Because Naradji went to Manu's place, and Naradji spoke about Kardam Muni. He's such a great ascetic, he's so brilliant. And Devhuti heard about Kardam Muni and she fell in love. And she's like, if I have to marry, I will only marry Kardam Muni and nobody else. So she went to her father and he said, I want to marry him. Parents are king. They are thinking, where will you go and marry with that man? But she was like, no, I will marry only him. So father said, okay. So the mother and the father, they came to this place. Okay. Now this place, it looks like a city, but imagine in those days, it was only forest. How we drove when it was all forest area? Just imagine there were no houses here, no concretes. It was all jungle. And Kardam Muni's hut is there. And Kardam Muni is sitting and meditating here. And suddenly there is a big procession of kings coming. And there are soldiers coming, marching ahead. Kardam Muni opened his eyes. And Manu, the king, comes, bows his head. And then before going, he says, I want to give you some dakshina. Dakshina means some donation, some charity. Kardam Muni said, I don't need any charity. I am very happy in my hut. He says, no, I really want to give you something. Please accept. He said, what? He said, I have a daughter. I want to give her to you. Because he said, what will your daughter do with me? I have no work with your daughter. I am an ascetic. She's like, my daughter only wants to be with you, serve you. So please accept. So they left the daughter. The mother is crying, the father is crying, but the daughter was like, I want to be with Kardam Muni. No, nothing doing. And then she said, Kardam Muni said, okay, you can also be staying here wherever I am staying. Kardam Muni didn't care. So she was serving him, and Kardam Muni is sitting in his hut. She is cleaning the hut, picking up all the root vegetables. They survive on root vegetables. And for wearing a dress, they wear the bark of the trees, balkal. Okay, so they have bark of the trees from which they would make dresses, and they would wear like that. Totally, both of them are living like ascetics. Kardam Muni is very involved in his tapasya. One day he opens his eye and he looks at Devati. He's like, when Devati came, she was looking so pretty. But look at her now. She's become like an ascetic just like me. Her hair all matted, everything. So he said, this is not good. She has done so much to me. I should not be behaving like this. So he called and said, Devati, anything that you have in your mind, you can speak now. Devati said, if you remember, Bhagwan said he will come as our son. So can we get back to that normal life, normal living? Kardam said, okay. She said, but for normal living, if we want to have a family, we need to have a home. He said, don't worry. He manifested an aerial palace with like, you can think of everything. Like when I say, the maximum we can imagine in our world is a sheikh from some Arab country, right? Having a plane in which there is a pool, there is a dancing room, there is a palace, there is a terrace, like open. So her servants, thousands of servants. So everything is then in that aerial palace, and the palace can go anywhere. So all these ladies come, the servants, and then they decorated Devhuti, and then they properly married again now, and then they had kids. So Devhuti, so just imagine, Devhuti and Kardam are both ascetics.
Okay.
Bhagwan does not manifest himself to some normal people. They are both ascetics. So Devhuti had 9 daughters first. Out of that, one of the most important daughter is Anusuya, who is the maternal grandmother of Dattatreya. And Dattatreya gave the knowledge of Sri Vidya, Tripura to Parshuram. And the murti that we saw there, that murti is of Parshuram. Parshuram gave the final liberation rites, the rites he did here for his mother, Renuka. So this place has so many history with such great personalities and stalwarts coming here and doing tapasya. We are sitting in that great place. Now it has a structure. In those time it was only jungles. All right. So now we were talking about,
And the palace was going everywhere.
and the palace was going everywhere. And then when the daughters were gone, daughters were married, and then Bhagwan himself manifested. in Kardam Muni's heart, and he said, I am going to be coming as your son. And then Bhagwan, when he manifested as the son to Devati, he came as a young boy. He did not come as a small baby or anything. And then he told Kardam that I have manifested here. Now you go and you do your tapasya. So Kardam said, I am already seeing you. Why I have to do more tapasya? Why I have to do more asceticism? He said, no, your darshan is still incomplete. Final darshan is when you see Bhagwan in each and every thing. I manifest when you are doing your meditation. This is how it appears to us also. So when we are praying, we will see God sometimes in our dreams. So seeing God, gurus, saints, holy places, temples, all this even in your dreams is truth. So this is first darshan, remember this. Second darshan is you are deep in your trance and God manifests in your heart. This is also truth. Third darshan is God manifests himself directly. You may recognize, you may not recognize. But here also the darshan does not get complete. The fourth and the final darshan is when you see him in each and everything.
Did you know this is God?
Everything, the tree is God, the chair is God, you and I, it's the same God in every heart. The bodies are different, but it is God. It is the same Atma, we call it Atma, the same super soul, Paramatma. It is in everything. So he said, Kardam Muni, you have to go and realize that I, the one who is here, is in everything. Okay? So Kardam Muni left for his thing, and then Devati was very sad. Then Devati sat down with her son and said, you send your father to the jungles. What about me, the poor mother? The father is meditating nicely. He will get liberated. You didn't think about me? Your father was always like that. I came as a young girl to him. I become a woman mother, but he left. At that time also he never cared. Now also he is not caring. So what about me? He said, Mother, I will give you all the knowledge that will liberate you right here. So this was the place. It is called Siddhapur. So here mother was liberated by the knowledge. So I always tell, knowledge is the one which will give you liberation. Everything else is just a ritual. So mother Devati started questioning. So some of the things that she questioned, I will just repeat in English. I'll read that.
With your glasses.
Previous lokasya. Okay. So mother is asking one or two questions. She's saying, Oh Lord Kapil, oh Bhagwan Kapil, oh my dear son, please describe me what is eternal time, which is the representation of your form. People come, people go. But people really don't go. They're always there in spirit form. But you are in the form of time which devours everything. So please explain it to me, and by whose influence people in general engage in the performance of pious activities. And then she says, My dear Lord, you are just like the sun. For you eliminate the darkness of the conditional life of the living entities, because their eyes of knowledge are not open. They are sleeping eternally in the darkness without your shelter, and therefore they are falsely engaged by the actions and reactions of their material activities, and they appear to be very fatigued. So people in the world are all tired. We are always talking about mukti, 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 liberation, we want mukti. We do not want to be coming back to this world again. But we keep coming and going.
We don't do our job.
Please explain us how we can become finally liberated. Because you are like the sun which dissipates the darkness of ignorance. So he is like the guru. Because guru also we say the same thing. So moved by her mother's questions, Devati, whatever she posed, Bhagwan is saying now, Shri Bhagwan Uvacha, Bhakti Yogo Bahuvidho, Marge Bhamini Bhavyate, Swabhava Guna Margena, Pumsam Bhavo Vibidyate. Bhagwan said, O noble lady, there are many paths of Bhakti Yoga, and which can be executed in different ways. Bhakti yoga can be executed by Svabhava Guna Margena, by your nature. Okay? So, Svabhava nature is, what is nature? We all have three types of nature: Sattvic nature, Rajasic nature, Tamasic nature. You getting it? So, no matter in what nature you are in, sometimes people think, oh, you have to be only purely Sattvic and then you can find God. No, whatever nature you are in, you start practicing Bhakti Yoga and you will get liberation. And from where does Bhakti Yoga starts? The first step of Bhakti Yoga is listening, Shravanam. So, whatever you are, in whatever stage of life you are, whatever is your nature, start listening. And then the next step after listening is doing Kirtan. Repeating that, glorifying that. So, right now what we are doing is, we are doing Kirtan. I am repeating, you are listening. I am doing Kirtan, you are doing Shravan. When we go and sit in the car, we will think on these topics. So, we are doing the third step, that is Manan. Okay? So, Shravan, Kirtan, Manan. And then the fourth step should be, we contemplate so much that it becomes our practice. So, first we start with ritual, and the ritual has to become your lifestyle. I don't have to come here. We don't have access to come here to take the water and put it on ourselves every day. But one time we did the ritual. Now we remember the water. Now we go back to our own places. And whenever we think of Kardam and Devavati, we will just think of that kund. We will mentally take the water, put it on ourselves. Then we will remember, oh, Devavati Ma sat down. Kardam Muni gave the knowledge. What was the knowledge? He spoke. He said, whatever stage of mind you are in, whatever is your nature, practice Bhakti Yoga. So, we are contemplating. How does the Bhakti Yoga start? Bhakti Yoga starts by listening. We are contemplating. So, what I must do? I must listen. Listening should become my habit. This is called practice. This is what he is teaching. And then he says, oh mother, devotional service executed by a person who is envious, proud, violent and angry, who is a separatist, is considered to be in the mode of darkness, tamasic bhakti. So, you are doing puja, but all the time you are angry. So, that is not, that is tamasic. So, we may say, oh, we are very sattvic, we are doing puja, we are in my sadhana, we are in full devotion. But the moment people come around us, so outside you are looking very pleased. And people may feel, oh, sattvic, but internally you are hating everybody. So, immediately you became tamasic at that moment. So, sadhana means constantly fighting this internal battle.
Yes, it is.
I am sitting here, I am lost in my bhakti, whoever comes or goes, it should not bother me. If I am sitting here and I am getting bothered by people around me, my bhakti is still not pure, it is still considered tamasic. So, he has very clearly said about the tamasic bhakti. Person who is envious about anybody else, who is proud, oh, I am the person, the great devotee, who is violent and angry, who is a separatist, is considered to be in the mode of darkness. Okay. Then comes the mode of passion. So, what happens? What do they do? The worship of deities in the temple by a separatist with a motive for material enjoyment, fame and opulence. So, we go to all the temples and we will worship only for giving us this and that. That is called in the mode of passion, Rajasic. So, what is the next bhakti? The next bhakti is Sattvic. How the Sattvic bhakti has to be? He says, when a devotee worships Bhagwan and offers the results of his activities in order to free himself from the inabilities of the fruitive activities, his devotion is in the mode of goodness. Whatever we do, we offer it to Bhagwan. This is what he is taught in Gita also. Same thing is coming in Sankhya Yoga. You love Bhagwan and you give everything to Bhagwan. Do not be envious, do not be proud, do not be violent, do not go to temples to keep asking for things.
Yeah.
Whatever you do, offer it to Bhagwan and under all circumstances remain happy. That is called bhakti. And then he says, Madguna Shruti Matrena मयि सर्वगुहाशये मनोगतिरविच्छिन्ना यतो गंगाम् आभसोऽम्बुधौ लक्षणं भक्तियोगस्य निर्गुणस्य युदारितम् अहेतुकी अवहिता या भक्ति पुरुषोत्तमे. He said, what is bhakti? How bhakti has to be? Bhakti is, he says, मद गुणा श्रुति मात्रेण मयि सर्वगुहाशये मनोगतिरविच्छिन्ना यथा गंगाम्बसो अम्बुध. Bhakti has to be, you are listening about God, His qualities, and your mind is becoming purified, and all the time your mind is purified only listening about the beautiful qualities, stories, His pastimes. That is bhakti. And so there are four things. One is listening to the name of God, Nam Gun. And then the next is listening to the qualities of God. Third is listening to the pastimes of God, right? So all these things when you are doing, Nam, Guna, Leela, okay, and about the places where he performed the Leelas, okay. When you are listening this all the time, you are becoming purified. So here what we are doing everything. We are remembering Kapil Bhagwan. How many times we took the name of Kapil Bhagwan? Here we are in his place. So this satsang becomes more glorious because we are in his place and we are describing about the qualities of Bhagwan. It is filling our hearts with joy. At this moment, is your mind going and asking anything? Does it want to ask? It does not want to ask because you are enjoying the moment. We just want to hear more about. So this is the bhakti that he is talking, and then he says, the manifestation of unadulterated devotional service is exhibited when one's mind is at once attracted to hearing the transcendental name and qualities of Bhagwan who is residing in everyone's heart. Just as the water of Ganges flows naturally down towards the ocean, once such devotional ecstasy, uninterrupted, Ganges you have seen, it comes from the Himalayas, and the Himalayan mountains are so big, and there are many big rocks on its way. Ganges does not care. It breaks the rocks, comes all the way from the Himalayas, and it goes to Calcutta, okay, and it goes and mixes up in the ocean. So bhakti is like that. Our bhakti may be very small, but once it starts getting into you, once you start enjoying the qualities and the names and pastimes, then automatically bhakti will take you towards liberation. This is how it has to be. So bhakti has to be uninterrupted and it has to flow towards the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then he says, there are 4 types of liberation. We were talking about liberation. We all want liberation. So you should know what is liberation. So people think, like here it said, the Ganges goes and merges into the ocean. So people explain one thing, they says, oh, when we are liberated, our soul goes and merges into the super soul. Maybe, could be, one type of, and that they call as nirvana, that they call as liberation. Bhagwan didn't start like that. In the previous shloka, he started saying, the one who is listening about my qualities, uninterruptedly, his mind becomes like the Ganges which goes and meets in the ocean. So from where will the mukti starts? The mukti starts from the first step, and the first step is listening about the qualities of Bhagwan. He is not saying meditate and then go merge. No, nothing. Listening about his qualities. So he says like that. So then he says there are 5 types of mukti. Salokya sashti samipya sarupya ekatvam apiyuta diyamanam na grinananti vinamatse vanam janaha. He says, my devotee whose mind is always stuck in me, he does not think of all this liberation. Liberation is very small. So there are 5 types of liberation. So one liberation, as people say nirvana, you go and merge in that bigger thing. So that merging, people think, oh, after that my form will just go away. It never happens. Our form is always there. As soul we will always be there, and Bhagwan's super soul will always be there. We are always one with him in quality, but we are never one with him in quantity. My soul is in my body, her soul in her body, her soul in her body, his soul in his body. But super soul in your body, my body, his body, this body, everybody's body. You are thinking differently, you are acting differently, I am thinking differently, she is thinking differently. because of our soul consciousness. But Bhagwan is neutral, beyond all this. The day your soul becomes purified, that is self-realization. And self-realization is equal to God realization. The day your soul is purified, you will see God. And you will see you and Him are just one. How? In the qualities. He is Sat. I am also eternal truth. He is Chit. I am also pure consciousness. He is Anand, the pure bliss. I am also pure bliss. After that realization, now I am in this body. But once that realization happens that my real form is that of happiness all over, eternal happiness. Then then you are in this body, the drama is going on, there are ups and downs, those won't affect you. Because internally you have tasted that uninterrupted stream of happiness like the Ganges flowing and merging in the ocean. So this is what he's saying. So one mukti, ekatvam, like you are always feeling oneness with him in that quality form. He is eternal, I am eternal. He is pure consciousness, I am pure consciousness. He is eternal truth, my existence is also eternal truth. This oneness. Then second, you go back, the body is gone, you have realized you are a muktatma, you will go to his lokas. So if you worship Krishna, you will go to Krishna's lok. If you worship Devi, you will go to Devi's lok. If you worship Shiva, you will go to Shiva's lok. If you worship Rama, you go to Rama's planet. And there you are able to see God in the form that you worshipped here.
In the way that we
Worshipped
see
here. So somebody is a Shiva devotee. They'll go to Shivpuri and they'll see Shiva there. And Shiva has many forms. Somebody is a Devi devotee. Kali, Tara, Durga. So all these planets exist. So they will go and see God, Goddess in that form. We are Krishna lovers. We'll go to Krishna's place. Krishna has many devotees. Some love Krishna as Bal Gopal as their own son. So you go there and you will worship and Krishna will come to you as your baby. For us, me and Sakha, we like him, we are worshipping him as a friendly. So we'll go there and Krishna is our friend. And he's always 16-year-old and we will be 16-year-old. So this is Salokya. Sarshti. Sarshti means all the opulences that is there in those lokas, you will also get. It's not like here that somebody is rich and somebody is poor. No. Whatever opulences Bhagwan has, you also get all those opulences. It's not like you are a dasi or you are a servant, so you won't get this. No. Everything is yours as much as it belongs to him. It's like the father, whatever riches he has, the son is entitled to it. So we come to that realization, oh, everything is mine. So that duality is ended up. So Salokya is living in his planet, Sarshti is enjoying his opulences, Samipya is always being near him, and then Sarupya, we get his roop, we look like him. We get that beautiful form. We are not like these bodies anymore. We are pure souls. So we are looking that radiant, beautiful form. We are in that form, like Bhagwan. But he says all these 5 types of mukti, oh my dear mother, my devotees, they just love me so much. Even if somebody tells, take this mukti, they are not interested. Because beyond this mukti is love. So what we must aim for? That love, not this mukti. That is what he is teaching. This very famous sloka of his. And then he goes on saying, he says, स एव भक्ति योगाख्या अत्यंतिका उदारित येना तीव्रज्य त्रिगुणम मद्भावा उपपाद्यते. He says, by attaining the highest platform of devotional service, as I have explained, one can overcome the influence of these 3 modes of material nature and be situated in the transcendental stage as is the Lord. And then he goes on saying, he says, a devotee must execute his prescribed duties which are glorious without material profit, without excessive violence. One should regularly performs one's devotional activities. And such a beautiful chapter, I can go on. And then he says, yes, the devotee should regularly see my statues in the temple, touch my lotus feet, offer worshipable paraphernalia and prayer. He should see in the spirit of renunciation from the mode of goodness and see every living entity as spiritual. Very important. Very important. Okay? Because same thing Gita is teaching, the same thing is teaching again here. But this we fail to remember.
I remember this.
Yes.
I mean, hello.
And then he says, the pure devotee should execute devotional service by giving greatest respect to the spiritual master and to the acharyas. He should be compassionate to the poor and make friendship with persons who are his equals. But all his activities should be executed under regulation and with control of senses. And then he goes on saying, a devotee should always try to hear about spiritual matters, should always utilize his time in chanting the holy name of the Lord. His behavior should always be straightforward and simple, and although he is not envious but friendly to everyone, he should avoid the company of the persons who are not spiritually advanced, but he should not hate them. Okay? And then he says, one who is fully qualified with all these transcendental attributes and his consciousness is thus completely purified, he is immediately attracted by hearing my name or hearing my transcendental quality. And he says, as the chariot of the air carries an aroma from its source and immediately catches the sense of smell, similarly, one who constantly engages in the devotional service in Krishna consciousness can catch the Supreme Soul who is equally present everywhere. We do not have to go anywhere. If my mind is in tune with Him, He will just manifest right here in the heart. I was telling the same thing in the car to them, maybe I said in Hindi, that whenever the mind becomes settled for me, because of the practice of so many years, I may be in the car, the mind will just become settled, and at that time itself something will just click and Bhagwan is talking. So he was asking, did you see Lord Shiva? I said, all the time. Because the practice has been so, there is no difference between the Guru and the Shiva. There is no difference between Guru and Ma, Lalita. There is no difference between Guru and Krishna. Finally, Gurus are them. So the one who is with the spiritual master, again and again they will say, the one who is in tune with the spiritual master is not the body, spiritual master is these great ones. The one who is following these teachings, he is in touch with the spiritual master. So once you are in touch with the spiritual master, the Shiva is there, everybody is there. Everybody is there. And they give you the knowledge whatever is required, whenever is required. It can come anywhere, everywhere. So this is what is happening. We are learning right now from Kapil Bhagwan. He is the spiritual master. Just imagine. And aham sarveshu bhuteshu bhutatma avasthita sada tam avajnamam martayah kurute richa vidambanam. Bhagwan is saying now, I am present in every living entity as the super soul. If someone neglects or disregards that super soul everywhere and engages himself in the worship of the deity in the temple, that is simply imitation. Meaning, you just go to the deity, you pray there, and the moment you come out, you are not giving you don't care, and you disrespect people. Then he says that is just imitation. So worship the deity in the temple and give the equal and proper respect to everybody around you. He says, one who worships the deity of the Godhead in the temple but does not know that the Supreme Lord as Paramatma is situated in everyone's heart must be in ignorance and is compared to the one who offers oblations into ashes. So you have to respect both the living being and this. And then he says, one who offers me respect but is envious of the bodies of others and is therefore a separatist, never attains peace of mind because of his inimical behavior towards other living entities.
Wow.
Such a beautiful teaching. You just want to the heart just cries that if you ever do a mistake, you're like, oh. Every time I used to read this, I used to go in the zone. God, such mistake should never happen. It happens many times. We are with people, people are in different modes, and then suddenly our mode of things are disturbed, and suddenly we get angry at them. And then you read these teachings and you're like, Bhagwan, please forgive us.
Yes.
And he says, my dear mother, even if he worships with proper rituals and paraphernalia, a person who is ignorant of my presence in all living being never pleases me.
Wow. So that's it.
He never pleases me by worship of deities in the temple. Getting it? He is each and every living being he is. We were discussing in the car that he said these trees are Papa Yoni. Papa Yoni means sinful, Yoni means from where we came.
Yes.
So he said, because in our scripture they'll say Papa Yoni. Papa Yoni means these are lower births.
Okay.
So Sanjay Prabhu asked that, so trees are in the lower berth, Papa Yoni? I said, we cannot say like that, Papa Yoni. Because nothing, first of all, nothing is Papa Yoni, because everything comes from the Yoni, from the womb of Universal Mother.
Yes.
You getting it? So when something has come from the Universal Mother, how can that be sinful? Papa means sin. It is not sinful.
It's not
Second, these trees, whatever you see is Prakriti, is nature. And we called Divine Mother as Mool Prakriti. So as you become devotee, purer devotee, what he is trying to teach us here, we are thinking we are pure because we are chanting, we are praying to Bhagwan in the temple. But the moment we look out and we say, oh, this is Papa Yoni or this is higher Yoni or that is higher Yoni, we still have that
division.
you got a differentiation in our head. No, everything has come from Divine Mother. Everything is Maya, Yoga Maya. Maya is also not bad. Maya is needed for the show must go on. But an aware person knows about this Maya. He worships Maya. He respects Maya. Money is never bad. Living luxuriously is never bad. But we should know why we have been given that luxury, why we have been given the money, why we have been given anything. Everything has to be used for the service of His people. So that way, when we live in the world, we will be very happy. Serving each and every living entity whom we meet since morning till night. Sitting here and talking, I am not even going and chanting any mala right now. But this service that I am doing,
It's incredible.
this is what Bhagavan is wanting. He said, we are not sitting there and chanting. He said, look, so all these 6-7 people have gathered here, speak about me. We are listening about him. Our mind is, we are sitting below the trees. This tree is a soul. It has been witnessed. The seed here has been for millions of years from the time when Manu was here. Manu means a forefather.
Yes, yes.
So the seeds that are growing here have been from the time of Manu. Those seeds have fructified, become these trees. Those seeds are carrying the vibration of Deva, Devuti, Kardam Muni. So I am sitting here in this beautiful tree. Everything is pure. Right there, you're getting it? So there's nothing called pap. Everything is pure.
What else we want?
So
What else we want?
yeah, that is how we meditate on each and every thing. So as the blazing fire of death, I cause great fear to whoever makes the least discrimination between himself and other living entities because of a different outlook. And he says, therefore, through charitable gifts and attention, as well as through friendly behavior, and by viewing all to be alike, one should propitiate me, and who abide in all the creatures as their very self. So he is saying to love everyone. That is the thing. And Jiva Shrestha Hyavijanam. Living entities are superior to inanimate objects, O blessed mother, and among them, living entities who display life symptoms are better. And then he goes on, animals with developed consciousness are better than them, and better are those people who developed sense perception. Then he goes, among the living entities who have developed sense perceptions, those who have developed the sense of taste are better than those who have developed only the sense of touch. Then he goes on describing how each and every conscious being is higher and higher and higher, but that is only in consciousness, but we have to look everything with a proper eye. Okay.
That's so beautiful.
Yes. So wait, I'll just go to some few more shlokas and then we'll end it up here.
This is so high, okay? The energy is really high.
Yeah. One second. Last few shlokas are very nice.
Yeah.
Therefore, I do not find a greater person than who has no interest in outside of mine, who sees everything in me and me in everything, and who therefore engages and dedicates all his activity, all his life, everything unto me without cessation. So we live like doing seva. And then he says, such a perfect devotee offers respects to every living entity because he is under the firm conviction that the Supreme Personality of God has entered the body of every living entity. So he is saying seva, serving everybody without anything. And then he says, my dear mother, a devotee who applies the science of devotional service and mystic yoga in this way can achieve the abode of Supreme Person simply by that devotional service.
What a beautiful seva you're doing, Smita.
And then, this is so big a chapter, I am just taking some few
Yes,
shlokas.
no, thank you. And think with me.
This whole thing I spoke in like 27 lectures. 43 lectures, okay, 43 lectures.
More than, I think, almost 29 chapters.
Yeah. So but few of the shlokas are very, so I'm just trying to get the last shloka because I don't have the book, because the book was, okay. No one is dear to the Supreme God, nor is anyone his enemy or friend, but he gives inspiration to those who have not forgotten him. So God is not partial. If you remember him, he'll inspire you and he'll give you all knowledge and destroys those who have. So he will give,
Repeat the word, I
yes,
and destroy the ones that
yes, yes. And then he says, beautiful things. I mean, I've learned so many things from here. One second, let me just take the few.
go to the group. I love it.
Yeah, sure.
Please.
Maybe one day I'll do it in English, the whole thing, just
Yeah,
for
it
you.
will be nice. Well,
I'll just take last sloka and then we'll end it up here.
people from Spanish world want
Yeah,
to know.
yeah. It's a big chapter. If there was a book, I could have gone to the last one. One second. Then he described about hell and heaven and everything, and then how you can overcome that. All of that, those things he described. Then he described how the creation goes on. So many beautiful things he has described. So it's a long chapter, but a lot of things in there, and how to come out of that. But the main thing that we have to take, there are so many things. He said, my dear mother, by a single object, by performing fruitive activities and sacrifices, by distributing charity, by performing austerities, by studying various literatures, by conducting philosophical research, by controlling the mind, by subduing the senses, by accepting the renounced order of life, by performing the prescribed duties of one's social orders, by performing the different divisions of yoga practice, by performing devotional service, by exhibiting the process of devotional service containing symptoms of both attachment and detachment, by understanding the science of realization, and by developing a strong sense of detachment. One who is expert in understanding the different process of self-realization realizes the Supreme Personality as he is represented in the material world as well as in transcendence. I have explained to you this process. I have nicely. There are varieties of material existence. I have explained you everything. He said, it is this instruction should be given to faithful devotee who is respectful to the spiritual master, non-envious, friendly to all kinds of living entities. This instruction should be imparted by the spiritual master to the persons who have taken Bhagwan to be more dear than anything. So, you guys are getting it because you have given it to Bhagwan. So, Bhagwan is speaking to all of you, and who are perfectly cleansed and have developed detachment for that which is outside the purview of Krishna consciousness. Anyone who once meditates upon me and me with faith and affection, who hears and chants about me, surely goes back home, back to Godhead. So, our mukti is confirmed.